I'm Prasad Kamthekar. I'm a engineering manager, managing engineering teams in Zoom currently. I've been at Zoom and for the last 3 years. I work in most of their contact center solutions. So this is all contact center, virtual agents, chatbots, and workforce management. That's been my last 3 years at Zoom. Before that, I was actually head of engineering at an AI startup called Solvi, which was again adopted by a lot of bigger customers. And then that's when Zoom acquired us in 3 years back. And then we have been working and building a lot of AI solutions in Zoom currently. I manage all of the engineering teams, both like US, India, China, and so on and so forth. These kind of events are a great way to calibrate yourself as to where exactly you are and how the world is moving, and kind of understand where everything is going and how we can catch up. So I just wanted to understand more. I'm sure you've heard that a lot, but I think just ChatGPT evolution was like pretty aha moment. I think that was like, it came out of left field, and it kind of just surprised everyone. And I think it was like very much of enlightenment, because you just didn't know that systems can do it on their own. And I think the data that it needed, as well as the data that it was able to produce, you kind of think that you have to spend like years and years to kind of generate the experience that ChatGPT or any other solutions are generating nowadays. And then it just takes you by surprise that, okay, this is like a day thing, or probably even hour or minute thing now. And what was I doing last 6 years, 6 years or 10 years to get to this point? So I think that was an aha moment. And I think it's non-stop, like it's continuing to grow. And I think the implementations and the solutions that you can generate from AI are like never ending. I mean, who knew like incident management is also coming out of that? So I think there are a lot of other applications that no one has even thought about where AI can go. And I think it's just something that it's a discovery for everyone, and a journey for everyone. I think that's where we have been trying to think, like, I mean, of course, you try and think about how you increase the velocity without burning the team. And I think, of course, there is a fine balance where there are a lot of asks that you have to deliver, but you obviously don't, like, there is always a threshold of how many people you can add to the team to actually deliver something that you can for the client. But then you are trying to figure out where is the time being spent and where is the time being lost potentially, that you can kind of gain back and deliver more. So that is where AI comes in for us as well. So we have been looking at all of the AI coding tools mainly, because I think it's a very straight application. It's a very straightforward. And I think, I mean, you also need skills for that. Like, it's not easy to just adapt to like a Cursor or Codium or whatever. But I think that's where we are looking at. And we have been kind of toying around and doing POCs on a lot of such applications, of course, considering the security and all other aspects and the proprietary code part of it. But that's where we have been. It's been a journey. Last 6 months, we have been doing that. And we have actually, I want to say we have kind of explored around 6 to 7 solutions of the code generation, from code generation, test cases, and like kind of API testing, any other, or even product Figmas and whatnot, right? I mean, you can generate PRDs and all that. Repeat is here today. So there are quite a few solutions that we can kind of work around. I'm sure that I don't know enough. Like, there is a lot out there that I don't know of, but we are trying to see where we can kind of save our team's time and use tools like code generation tools to actually enhance the productivity. I mean, you always have like these positive scenarios that code generation, and it just works, right? I think you just tell it what you need, and then it will deliver that. I think it comes to, I don't think there is still that part of, like, if you call like the subject matter expert or domain excellence, is still missing from these tools, because they just don't know. These are very procedural, very kind of like, okay, the output is as good as input in these cases, and it will just generate the code for you. It doesn't really know what it is doing. Like, at the end of the day, you still need like those experienced eyes to actually monitor what it's going to do. And I think what we have found out is that it's good at generating code. It doesn't know how, when it fails, how it can kind of generate the data that you need. And I think that is the area that is a gray area right now. Everyone is deploying code, but they don't know how to kind of understand after deployment what has happened. How do you generate how do you debug it? Or like if there is an incident, like how do you understand that? And because if you're not aware of how the code was even generated, you don't know how to debug it or if something were to happen. So I think that area is a little gray area, and also like just the functional knowledge or the domain experience is lacking in these tools. I'm sure they will get there, because like I mean there's, I think 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, you're gonna see these same tools which are like kind of specific domain. Like you will see cursor for finance, cursor for like CX, and I think, I mean it's not that far. I can clearly see that, but that knowledge is lacking right now. That is where your engineers who have that tribal knowledge are gonna come in and kind of help out. So that gap is still there, and I think that is where we kind of need to figure out how to reduce that gap. Yes, and I think that is where your experience comes into play, because the seasoned engineer is trying to break even the tool by like kind of giving it prompts that they know that it's probably not going to generate the code that they want. But and I think the newcomer, or like the people who are not that senior, they are only looking at positive scenarios. Like they are really happy that it generated, or it is auto completing their sentences, or syntactical, there are no syntactical errors, or there are no security vulnerabilities. Like those are the things that they are kind of worried about, and they are figuring that out. Like, so it works for like smaller scenarios for junior engineers. Senior engineers are very particular in trying to break it first, then adopting it. So I think they go on a like kind of a almost against it first before they go on the positive side of it. And I've seen that a lot with experienced engineers, and I think that's the best way to it. Like, you know how far it can withstand and it can deliver what you are looking for. We are seeing that problem a little bit now, and I think we are at a little early stages of where the code that is generated is not fully deployed on like every bits and pieces of production. But even when the code is generated, it is so sometimes it's harder to understand from a syntactical point of view, that even then, like, forget about production deployment, even then what is generated, you need to comprehend it, understand that it is going to break at some point, because it's not 100%, like it's never not going to break. So I can clearly see that issue. We have seen couple of incidents where this has already happened, where you just don't know, okay, what has this done, like, and then you kind of wish, okay, I it would have been better if I had just handwrite that code, because then I would have known how to kind of debug it. So we have seen that couple of places, but it's not like fully hitting us yet, and I'm sure it's coming. Like, it's like you can't avoid that. Yeah, so I think one of the things that and I mean, again, kind of subtle hint towards resolve, I guess. But one of the things that most of the companies, I believe, are spending time on is incident management. Like, I think there is a lot, and you can't really quantify, but there's so much time that's being spent on incident management, because nowadays even customers are getting very particular about, tell me what happened and why this happened and how are you going to avoid it. Like, there is a lot of demand that comes from customers also, like from especially for enterprise customers, all that. It's like they expect your system to never fail, and that's not the reality. The system is going to fail. Like, that's the reality of it. And then when that happens, they need you to, or they want you rather, to document everything that went wrong when the system arrived at that error or issue. So, and I have seen a lot of engineers and spending a lot of time, like kind of going 6 months back to figure out what that feature was, all the way to how that it was written, and how, like, even writing 5 whys or 10 whys, right? So I think that the incident management and RCA is becoming very crucial, and I think that is where a lot of time is being spent. And then I do think that there is opportunity to kind of address that gap and improve the time, or reduce the time that is being spent on those activities. Oh yeah, so I mean, I think the developer productivity in general, right from, I mean, I use the term cradle to grave, like you're starting from like writing the first line of the code to deploying it and figuring out and potentially decommissioning it, right, after 5 years, 10 years. But how do you maintain that code, and then where all you are spending time that you should not be spending as a software developer? And I think there are right ingredients like kind of in place here today, like folks from Replete and Data Stacks. And I think I'm sure there's a lot of knowledge that will be shared, and I'm looking forward to kind of understand that. And so let's like network and meet with other people. 6 years back, I think that was one of the memory, because I think we were on a call for, I think, around 60 hours nonstop. I think everyone kind of slept for 2 hours or less, and I think it was an issue that could have been avoided, of course. And I think if we had done a due diligence, it was a great learning experience. And it was completely the system failure that we were trying to figure out why it is happening, and also understand. And that 60 hours included like rollbacks and migrations and everything. I mean, you know it, you have been there, I guess. So that is something that, like, my every approach now from that point on is, how do I avoid those 60 hours for anyone in my team, including myself, of course. But I think that has been a pretty, it has been very humbling experience, I would say, because I think you kind of, I think that what you did was the greatest thing that you delivered, and those 60 hours taught us a lot of things. So I think, and everyone in my team, even though I don't work with a lot of those individuals, we still have that point to go back to, and it has always stayed with us for everything that we do from there on.